Yeah, it's training.
Oh, okay. Here he comes.
I got a fart over there. Hold it a little bit.
Yeah, do that.
Fart rolls.
No, hold it. We don't need any of that. Seth, how you doing?
Oh, you been better?
Great.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been better. So, we're not here to pick on you. We're going to let you know, you may be curious about the results of the autopsy and some of the other investigations, so we're going to let you know that. Because you're in here, I'm going to read you your rights. It doesn't mean you have to talk to us. You can if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine, but I'm going to read them to you, then I can explain what we have. Fair?
Yeah.
And we read these to you yesterday, too, the same thing. You've been advised that you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to the presence of a lawyer before and during any questioning. If you wish your lawyer, contact Portal and the court will appoint one before any questioning.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on being able to contact my lawyer.
Okay. And if you want to contact a lawyer, you can. This just says that I've read these to you. I'm going to read the waiver to you. I'll let you know why we're here. If you want to talk to us at that point, you may. If you don't want to.
Sure, I want to talk to you guys. I was just told, I think by you, when I got arrested, that when I got down here, I was going to be able to contact my lawyer, and I still haven't been able to do that.
Because we put a hold on your phone calls right now. Okay. But if you would like to talk to a lawyer before I explain to you what's going on, you may. If you want to wait till I explain to you what we have, and you want to talk, it's up to you. Okay?
I would like, if it's possible, I'd like to talk to her first, just so that she knows what's going on. If there's anything that she can tell me, and then can we talk, or is that okay?
Well, here's what happens is, yeah, we can talk. You'll have to fill out a kite and request that we come back.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. It's not a punishment whatsoever. It's absolute rights of yours, so we can
All right, let's just go for it.
But you want to talk to us?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It's up to you. We're not pressuring you to do anything.
So you don't want to talk to your lawyer first?
No.
You're certain?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's 4:26 right now. We write the time here. The waiver is, I have been advised of and understand each of the above constitutional rights, and I'm willing to answer questions. Okay? If you do, you're going to sign your name right there for me. Now it sounds like you may have been expecting us to come today. Okay, talk to you today.
You mean here?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I expected all of the worst, so, yeah.
You did?
Pretty much. That's pretty much what I come to expect of the U.S. government, so.
Separate, if you could do me a favor, don't separate us from the U.S. government, because we're not the U.S.
Well, I know you guys are part of the machine, though, so.
Yeah, we try to keep ourselves part of the machine, but, and I can respect you for saying that, though. I kind of get where you're coming from on that, to some extent. Just I ask you not paint us all the same brush, because we're not all the same, okay? I think we're pretty decent guys. He's kind of a jerk sometimes, but I'm pretty decent. I'm kidding you. I know you have some pretty strong beliefs. So do I. Very strong faith beliefs. So, I get where you're at and where you're coming from. That's why I asked you not to paint us with the same brush. Does that make sense? Okay. When you said you kind of expected us to come back, but what made you think we were going to come back?
Well, your job is to fill cells. So there's
cells?
Yeah. So,
That's the furthest from the truth. But
it's my experience.
Yeah. Have you ever been in trouble with the law before?
Yeah, like minor stuff when I was a kid.
Like what?
Like I stole some alcohol from a minor when I was 18.
Just minor stuff.
Like retard stuff. I haven't done anything since then.
Were you treated fair then?
No.
You weren't?
No.
What department was that?
Ottawa County.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't have a problem with, with that incident. There's another incident with my girlfriend's mom, which I think I briefly explained to you, where basically she just complained until she got me thrown in jail. All the charges ended up getting dropped without.
What kind of charges were they?
Like breaking it. She said that me and my girlfriend broke and entered and stole a bunch of stuff from her, but.
Okay. And it seems like, my understanding is about, correct me if I'm wrong, because I grew up in the church, but about 5 years ago you kind of came to a faith conversion. Does that sound right?
That's a pretty...
Or is
It's
it
a
kind of
very,
gradual?
I read and believed the books of Moses when I was 5, so it's been a lot longer than that.
You could read that when you were 5?
Yes.
You're way ahead of me, man.
You're a smart dude.
Smart dude. All right. But it's safe to say, though, that over the last 5, 6, 7 years, your faith has...
That it's gotten very radical, yes.
No, I didn't say that. It's
That's okay, I
strengthened.
just did.
No, why would you say it got radical?
Well, you know,
You're
I
not the
say
only one
the
that
things...
does that, though.
What's that? I know,
You're not the
but,
one that does that.
yeah, I'm not alone.
Exactly.
As will be found out, but, I'm out there. I know that.
When you, I guess...
Say that, yeah, that's cool.
What makes you think you're out there, though? I think when you say you're out there, what you believe, though, is what you believe. Even though you think, others think you're out there, you think what you're is correct, right? That be fair? Fair to say?
Yes.
All right. I don't think you're that far out there by any means. You believe in Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Forgiveness of sins,
Yeah.
confession, doing the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, we're all on the same page. I know we talked to you, I didn't talk to you, I haven't met you before. I think I saw you in passing yesterday. We asked you a lot of questions yesterday, or some people did, about your family situation, etc. Okay? Here, the autopsy was performed this morning, and Jason has some pictures he can show you okay, and the condition you found her. How would you describe the condition that we found her in?
Well, I know, for example, that, what your partner said, that you guys could, see her guts and stuff, skin gets translucent after death, so that doesn't surprise me. I know she was very skinny. I was a bit surprised even that morning when we came to get her. I can't say, and I have pictures on my phone proving it, that was the condition she was normally in. Her face was gaunt, and that struck me, but that has not, and like I said, I have plenty of evidence and witnesses that has not been the normal condition.
How long do you think she's been in that condition?
Well, it couldn't have been that long. We put her down at 3 o'clock.
Was she like that when you put her down?
I did not put her down, but no, she was alive when we put her down.
As far as appearance goes, though, did she appear gaunt? And
no.
When you put her down, she
No, I keep looking at your phone because it looks just like my phone, but I have pictures of her on my phone of me holding her, and she's she's always been a skinny girl, but nothing that
What do you think the most recent picture on your phone would be? The most recent to now of you holding her? So the ones you're referring to.
I don't know, maybe a week?
Oh, so that recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a video of her and my daughter, playing in her little swingy chair, and
the doctor, the video autopsy,
yes,
says she's been like this for a while. He said she hasn't eaten or drank, and that's the cause of her death. You guys had a search warrant. I'm happy to renew it and have you go through my garbage and see all the baby food. Right. Hear me out for a second, okay? I'm not saying you're not a caring guy, because I think you absolutely are. I think Tatiana's a very caring lady. I think with the kids that you guys have, the farm you're trying to run, and with the pressures of providing for your family, I think some meals got missed over the last couple of months, and gradually she's been losing weight.
Like I said, I can provide receipts for baby food. You guys The garbage cans are still the garbage cans.
How often have you actually fed her?
I feed her every day.
Every day?
Yes, when my wife, as we've gone over, when my wife puts her down for a nap and goes to work, she takes a nap, and she gets up and I feed her either 3 or 4 of those Gerber cups of baby food, that are like...
And she eats the whole thing?
Wolfs it right down, no problem.
The whole thing?
Whole thing.
And so...
Unless you want to count what the cats can lick up out of the bottle.
So, how often does...
My little... I'm sorry to interrupt you, but even my 4-year-old daughter has fed her.
Okay.
And it's...
How often does Tatiana feed her a day?
Goodness, before she goes to work, I feel like she's attached to her. Like she's breastfeeding all the time.
What time do you guys normally wake up in the morning?
Anywhere from 5 to 8.
5 to 8 a.m.
Yeah.
You wake up. Is you awake then?
It's been varying because she's been going through a growth spurt, but it depends. It's a 50-50 thing. Sometimes she's up, sometimes she's not.
Okay.
Sometimes she's the reason we get up. Sometimes we've had to get her up.
So, between the time she gets up, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there normally? Or between 8 and 10?
Sure, she gets up, yeah.
How often is Tatiana feeding her before she goes to, let's say, work at, what time does she go to work?
3, like I said, it's like she's like attached to the teeth. It's almost nonstop.
Almost nonstop she's
Yes.
feeding?
Yes.
Okay. So, does Tatiana take her outside, or does Tatiana basically stay in the house then and care for the kids and you care for the farm?
Yeah, she might take her outside and go hang out for a little bit and sit her in her stroller and let her get some fresh air and, see outside, do the normal sort of socialization stuff that we do with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Okay. And you see her during the day feeding the child?
Oh, yeah.
Multiple times?
Oh, yeah.
She leaves for work at what time, 2:30?
Yeah.
What happens then at 2:30?
She puts the kids down, all 3 kids generally go down for a nap, they go down for quiet time, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they fall asleep, sometimes they don't, in which case I'll get them up either way once I've decided, okay, that's enough. Wake up about 4:36, 5, so somewhere between 4:30 to 6 o'clock she'll wake up from her nap.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get her up, generally have to change a poopy diaper, and then I feed her.
So around 6 o'clock, 5, 6 o'clock, she gets up, change a diaper, you feed her. Can you describe how you feed her? Is it?
Yeah, with a spoon.
Okay, so there's no breast milk then?
No.
Tatiana's not pumping or anything like that?
No, because she gives her breast milk all morning, and then, like I said, I feed her solid stuff in the afternoon. And I'll feed her, quite often what I'll do is I'll feed her 2 cups, and then I get her up and take her for a walk so that, the food actually gets down, and because if you just put them right back down, they'll throw it back up all over themselves. So, I hold her around, walk her around, maybe take her for a walk up and down the driveway real quick, go see the birds, and then I'll take her back inside. Just, food had time to settle, then I'll sit her back down, I'll feed her the other 2 cups. And then when I'm done feeding her the other 2 cups, I'll pretty much go out and do the same thing. I might sit her in her stroller for an hour or 2, let her watch the birds, while I get some work done. She can watch, the kids. Sometimes the kids will, play with her a little bit.
So how long do you think it takes you to feed her? How long do you think it takes to change her diaper? She gets up and change her diaper? 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Maybe.
Okay, then how long does your feeding and walking up and down the driveway take?
Do you mean, the whole span of when she got her first cup to the end of the 4th cup, or do you mean from when I got her up to when I put her down, or?
Yeah, how long does the feeding take? By the time you feed her all 4 cups, she walks up and down the...
Half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
It's not like she used to just wolf the stuff down.
Okay. And she always eat all 4 cups?
Yeah.
She always eats everything?
Yeah.
Never... Did she spit a bunch of it back up?
I mean, you know, she spits up a little bit, but like,
Nothing.
I mean, I got like little dad stains from, see, I mean, I'm not bullshitting you guys, like,
Right.
this is from me carrying her.
Yep. And then,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I know this is tough for you. And we're not, like I said, we're not here to pick on you, okay? So, after you feed her, it's roughly, if she gets up at 5 o'clock, change her diaper and feed her, you're talking around
6:37, we'll be done with everything and ready to put her back down for bed.
Okay.
And then some nights it might, you know, it might even go till 8.
Do you feed her again?
No.
So you feed her the one time, the 4 cups.
I guess you should not feed her more than that, or she's going to just start throwing it all back up.
Okay. And what time you put her back down?
You know, like I said, it depends. A lot of it will depend on, you know, I'll just read her body language and see how tired she is. I mean, recently it seems like she's been pretty much okay with eating and then going back to bed.
Right back to bed?
Pretty much. I mean,
Is she a fussy baby?
No.
No, doesn't cry a lot.
She cries whenever something's wrong. Whenever she's uncomfortable, whenever she's hungry, upset in any way, she'll let you know quick. Like, she's worse than the other kids about crying. But
so when the kids are down for a nap, what do you do then?
you know, I'll read, or a lot of times it's during the heat of the day that time, so I'm generally not outside working, or, you know, I'll eat dinner, or, you know, I'll talk to people on the phone, or, you know, just...
So what about the other kids? When do they go to bed?
They'll go to bed, sometimes they'll go down to bed at the same time as Mary does, in the evening if it's late enough. If not, you know, they'll be up with me until 8, 9.
Okay.
Outside.
Outside? You working outside or playing with them, or?
Yep. Yeah, I'm just like working.
Working?
Yeah.
Okay, so once your wife leaves for work around 2:30, that's when you put the kids down for a nap.
Yep.
They wake up around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yep.
5 minutes to an hour, which puts it about 6 o'clock. You then watch the kids outside. You do some yard work outside when the kids are out there.
Well, no, because usually there will be like that little buffer of time from when I get done feeding. Hands-free, so generally I just walk with her. I just try to get her mentally stimulated, so, you know, when, if you give kids something to think about, they don't fuss so much when you put them down to bed.
Right.
So I just try to make sure I walk around and get her a lot to see and think about before I put her back home. So it might be like an hour.
So you really don't do much work on the farm then between 2:30 and 7:30, 8 o'clock when the kids come back down?
No, not really, no.
All right. So
Hands up.
keeps you busy.
Yeah.
She's the one that requires the most attention. How long have you guys been, or you, when did your wife go back to work? Where she's leaving at 2:30 at night?
In the afternoon?
Yeah. Okay.
No worries if I get corrective, it's just not, it's not me being
I'd
picky.
rather have you be specific than not. So 2:30, when did she go back to work, where she's leaving at 2:30?
She started doing that in April because she was going to do that before, but I think she started doing it in April or May. Actually, she really started doing this, committed to this schedule, July 4th. We started playing around with it like April, May, June, but we didn't like it because she was still, you know, a pretty skinny baby, and you know, want to make sure mom was home to put breast milk on her and take better care of her than, you know, than I probably am going to. So July 4th is when she really started this.
July 4th is when she really started leaving every afternoon. She works how many days a week?
4 or 5, or sometimes we'll call her in for like even 6.
Okay, so she works 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And it's probably safe to say you probably need the money.
Yeah, we're working on different options. That's why I stay home and work on the farm, because we used to both just do that. But it wasn't worth the trouble and didn't make enough money, so we're kind of in the middle of shifting gears, and we're hoping in 2 or 3 years to be back to just full-time farming again.
Okay, which makes sense. Okay. And like you said, I can understand why she stayed home a while, because like you said, and I would agree with myself too, she probably takes better care of the kid than you do, just like my wife probably takes a little
It's
better.
just mom stuff.
It's a mom thing. They take better care of the kids than you would. So since July 4, when you're watching all 3 kids, right? And generally 6 days a week. Starting at 2:30 in the afternoon, right? So each of those days then, so 6 days a week, you're responsible for the kids from 2:30 until
11-ish, 11:30.
11:30, and then when your wife gets home, really all the kids are in
They're
bed,
asleep.
they're sleeping. So no, it's safe to say that your wife doesn't have to deal with the kids again until morning. She can come home and sleep, and you guys don't have to deal with the kids again until morning.
Pretty much. Sometimes night for breastfeeding, you know. Tati says when she comes home, she always puts there's a hole in my door. Gunsmithing accident many years ago. Yeah, I was whacking on an AK with a hammer, and the hammer flew out of the back of my hand. So,
Good joke on the yesterday. The first thing is you whack on an AR with a hammer.
with a hammer? With an AK.
We do it don't load it.
Yeah. So my wife will always go and peep, and she says she just wiggles the doorknob a little bit just to trigger her to move a little bit without actually waking her up. And she said on Wednesday night, was it? She did. No problem.
Okay.
So
from 2:30 to 11, generally speaking, you have the kids 6 days a week, and you feed Mary one time each of those days. I mean, have you ever? She's fed each day, and she eats about 4 things of baby food, and that's been. She always ate 4. And sometimes
it used to be 3, but she's got she's been growing. So, and we've even talked about we've talked about even going to 5. Seems like a lot of food for a little baby to me.
Right.
So I know she's skinny, but I didn't want to go the other way also, which seems to be more of a problem among kids, is getting too fat than being too skinny. So
right.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, like we don't know. Yeah, right.
That's a good point. So since July 4, then she's eaten 3 to 4 things every feeding that you fed her. And then after feeding, she can feed her one time, and then she ends up going to bed around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then I just try to get my
Yeah, sure. Sure. I'd almost call. Yeah. I was just wondering if I should be nitpicking and call that she gets fed twice, because I feed her once
and then walk
her around and then come back.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying.
What are these? Is it the little glass things? Is that what you're talking about?
No, they're plastic, but they're just.
They're the little Gerber feeders.
They're like, I think each one is supposed to be like a serving or something.
So what you buy at Meyer, the little baby food.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I feed her 4 of those.
It used to be in glass when we were
Yeah,
younger.
right.
Okay. Yeah, those.
Yeah, and it'd be chicken and potatoes and cheese. It was no.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeding her nothing, and yeah.
Okay. I had someone ask you, and I forgot. Hang on with me a second. I'll think of it. So, for the last month and a half, you've been doing that. How long then have you noticed that she's starting to lose this weight?
The thing is that we haven't really noticed that she was starting to lose weight. In fact, even my mom, who's always kind of poked at us about how skinny she was, even mentioned a week and a half ago that she noticed she was gaining weight.
Because your mom has said that she noticed when you guys were over there on July, I think it was July 3, your dad's birthday, that she mentioned that maybe you should take her in.
I'm sorry, I don't recall that conversation at all. The last I recall was, yeah, my mom's. She might have done that then. However, I do clearly remember, I guess it'd be 2 weeks ago, it's not last Sunday, but the Sunday before that, she came for a visit, and
so that'd be two Sundays ago?
yeah, and Tatiana and I both noticed, I think it was just last week, when we were picking her up, we were very relieved because we could clearly feel that there's a little bit more there. I know she's skinny, but every little bit counted for us, so we did notice that it seemed like she was...
Now, it sounds like you were at least somewhat concerned that you guys had talked about it a little bit, right? That she wasn't gaining...
Yeah, we weren't blind to the fact that she was skinny. I mean, we have been told that with her being... She got pushed out of the womb before she had time to really put the meat on her, which is what happens the last month of pregnancy. So we always kind of knew. I've well documented my medical fraud, quite frankly, experience yesterday, which is why I was not too keen on going that route. Also, there are some fake things that come into play for me. If you guys really want to take it to a courtroom, yeah, I could probably stand on saying that I don't believe in going to doctors unless, something is physically very, very wrong. If there's a bone broken that needs to be set, if there's a huge cut that needs to be gashed or that needs to be sewn up. But with a lot of medical issues, I just...
So you're saying if something was seriously wrong with your kid, you would take them to the doctor then?
Yes. If it was, like I said, if it's something where it's just like, okay, obviously, bone broken, but if it's going to be something where basically some guy in a white coat, no offense, has a graph that says, oh, well, she needs to be this many inches and this much weight, and since she's not, we're going to call CPS and put you on this drug program, and that's that. I don't buy into it. It's a scam to me.
Were you at all concerned, though, about how big she was?
I won't say that I was concerned as in I was worried. To be honest with you, maybe I'm wrong, or God just has His will and His plan for things, but I did not. I thought she was going to make it.
God uses means, right?
Yeah, and they're not always, pretty or the most pleasant here in this current age. So I kind of just honestly thought that, if I did the right things, if I fed her right, we made sure to, just love her and love her for who she is and not try to, secularly, religiously beat her over the head with all different kinds of things because she didn't match up to something on a graph. My ex-girlfriend who I had a baby with in high school, her youngest son, the #1 cause of death in this country's medical malpractice. So,
yeah. So, like you said, with your faith, you thought that God had landed. You said you thought she was going to make it.
I thought she was going to be okay if we did the right thing. And
at what point did that become the thought of yours?
That's how I try to live my whole life.
Okay.
So, at what point do you think that there might really be a problem?
I mean, to be honest with you, Thursday morning when we found her, I think everybody's flesh is imperfect. We all got some sort of problem with us somewhere that somebody could hype into being, potentially lethal and here buy my product. At some point,
do you know that she weighed 1 pound and 4 ounces more than when she was born?
No, I didn't know that.
1 pound and 4 ounces more than a baby. She weighed less than a lot of babies are born at.
Seth, here's the thing. I'm going to leave this completely up to you, the same thing I did Tatiana. I have a photograph of her right here on my email, if you'd like to see it, so you can at least see what we're looking at.
Oh, I'm sure it looks terrible. I'm sure you guys are seeing the absolute worst of it. And
do you want to see that?
I don't really want to. If
I will not make you. No, I will not.
I saw it, and that was quite enough for me.
The only reason I even offer that is we're going to talk about the autopsy a little bit, and I'd like you to look at it, but I would never. Don't ever confuse that I'm going to demand that you look at it. You're her dad. I'll give you the option if you want to look at it, so you at least can intelligently speak about what we're speaking about. If you don't, up to you. Which would you prefer?
Well, I already told you, but if you want to show it to me, I'll look at it.
But you don't want to?
Not really, no.
Okay. Then I'm not going to
do it.
No. Listen, I'm not going to... I'm going to explain things to you, even if you do already tell me something, because that's how conversation works, but it doesn't mean you have to comply with what I want. You're a grown man. You know that. You do what you want. So
Well, I'm grown enough to know I also have to comply with you.
No, you don't.
No.
I'm telling you that right now. I just told you that again.
Well, aren't I?
Well, you have to comply with that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. But, again, I already explained to you, the reason I don't even bring it up to try to gross anyone out. I mean, let's just bring it up to see through our lenses and see if that's what you recall. See, is that what you remember?
Why don't you go ahead and show it to me? I can tell you what I remember from the day before. She looked very different when she was dead. She looked...
How about we show you the picture?
That's fine. You go ahead and show me the picture. I looked at her. I mean, I had to tell my wife to stop giving her CPR. I know what she looks like, and like I said, I have pictures from before. She was not that thin. I don't know what happened that night. I didn't hear any crying. I was up at night. There was no crying. We always wake up when there's crying. Tatiana fed her. I don't know.
Now this is her size. That's what she looked like when we removed her from your
She
home.
looks like when we put her to bed. Did she have some sort of progenitor disease or something?
No, what happened, and we spoke to Tatiana.
Can I ask, are you allowed to tell me, is she in jail too?
Yes.
Okay. Same charge?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Tatiana says that for the last 2 months, things have gotten real busy around the farm, trying to get things going and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been putting sleeping from about 5 p.m. to about 11 a.m. the next day because she wasn't waking up, so she was letting her sleep. And I mean, you guys were concerned about the weight, but you would try to feed her. You guys, when I say you, I mean you guys, would try to feed her when she was awake, but you didn't wake her. So
I'd say the timeline's a little long.
okay, and that's why we're here. So what would you correct it as?
Like I think we covered, about 7 or 8 to anywhere between, 8 to 10 the next morning.
So, I'm not a doctor, so for me to tell you anything else, I don't know. But what I am saying is that the doctor says that she died of, what's the technical stuff he was saying?
In layman's terms, she died because she was dehydrated and no food.
Starvation and dehydration.
And here's the thing, we're not...
I know, I get it. The thing for me is it's almost like a hellish miracle, because I don't know how, I remember going like this,
Let me talk to you a minute, okay? Neither of us is saying that either of you don't love your kids, because it is obvious that you do, okay? It's obvious. But it's also very obvious that you're lying to us right now. And you know that is not right to lie. You know it isn't. It is impossible for you to have fed that kid 3 to 4 things a day. Impossible.
By your reckoning.
No, hold on. Not by my reckoning.
Yes, because you weren't there, you can't say, and so to say that it's a lie, that's something you're going to have to bring up with God in your own day.
Hold on.
Okay,
I got the evidence, man.
But Seth, here's what, I guess I'd say it this way, is that the ME, okay, we're not doctors, what the ME is saying is that she starved. Okay, that's what it's saying. So if that's the case, we're not nutritionists either, but there wasn't enough frequent feedings to sustain her. So maybe, I don't know, I don't know any of that, but maybe that happened. But it didn't happen often enough. And that's what the concern is, and the concern is, and I think it could have just been, that slippery slope that you just don't realize maybe what's happening right away, but when she's sleeping so much, you think, oh, good, she's sleeping, but she's sleeping so much because she doesn't have energy because she's starving, and then this goes on and on and on and on, and then she's losing weight, so then when she is awake, you're trying to give her like, hey, come on, girl, fatten up a little bit, let's get some pounds on, but then she's sleeping for, whatever, 15, 18, whatever the hours come out to be. And then we repeat this cycle. So without the schematics of how much, and that, the simple fact of the matter is, clearly it wasn't enough.
Well, like I said, you have to go through, you have to get another search warrant and go through my garbage and find all the baby food and,
So the durations, did that ever concern you, the long durations for like 2 months of her, how long she laid in bed?
Well, recently, like I think I told you yesterday, recently, she had, like we said, been going through a growth spurt. I know it's probably hard to believe on your end. And so all our kids used to sleep 12 to even 14 hours on a growth spurt. 15 for very short periods of like a month or two. Same teething stage, all that kind of stuff.
So you guys thought she was going through a growth spurt, according to Tatiana, because there was never any measurements or weights or anything like that. And she was only 1 pound heavier than the day she was born, and she was only 3 inches longer than the day she was born. So there clearly was evidentary no.
Well, after she was born, she had lost a little weight, like a lot of babies do.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I doubt death did her any favors in those regards either. So, it was a little bit, but we noticed it.
Okay.
And like I said, I even clearly remember my mom noticing it because it gave me, kind of a leap in my heart that, hey, even my mom is starting to notice, thank God we must be getting somewhere.
A while. Right, this is April 25, right?
Okay.
Look how full.
Look how healthy she looks, full.
Does that mean?
Right?
Yep.
Healthy baby. That does not happen in one night.
You are totally correct.
So how does this not get caught? Because like you said, if there was an obvious injury like a broken bone was your example, that you would take your child to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I've never seen a more obvious injury. From where I'm looking at, now again, I'm not seeing this every day, but from where I'm at, I've never seen a more obvious injury. Do you think that's an obvious injury? The looks of her?
She does not look physically healthy, no.
So then why no treatment? Because you said you would on an obvious injury.
Well, like I said, that's not what she looked like when we put her down.
She couldn't have looked like that
didn't
picture.
happen. That didn't
I agree
happen
with you, it
overnight.
didn't happen overnight. I agree that, I used to pick her up and be like, oh, she's skinny. But I'll also say it did not look like that.
You know, the ME said, and he does, she had at least 2 autopsies a day, hundreds of them a year, hundreds in his, probably thousands in his career, has never seen a case this bad. Looks like she was in a concentration camp.
And everything you're saying to me is terrible. It makes me feel like absolute shit. But I don't know what to say because I fed her. And like I said, taking in cups to the house and let me dig through the garbage can and show you the empty cups of food.
But it's maybe not just that food, though, Seth, is what we're seeing, is that it's those prolonged times, without us, any of us being nutritionists, it's those prolonged times without food.
I've never encountered that.
And then you saw her looking like this. There was concern for a month or longer. When she was looking like this, you had faith that she would make it, that God would have a plan for her, and she would make it. And your mom had made comments about it. You are relieved when your mom said her cheeks had filled a little bit. So there was, of course you're her dad. There's a concern, but I'm just trying to make sense of it. Is why did that concern not rise to the level of she can't sleep this long, we can't leave her in the bed this long, she needs to go to the doctor, there's a lot of different things. Why?
I've never read of it being a problem. I've never experienced it as being a problem. So,
do you think people in concentration camps that look like that got that way overnight?
no.
But they gradually start looking worse like that for a while. So much so that your wife thought a couple of days ago she was probably going to die. And my guess is...
Now, see, I'll tell you, I think you're lying, because she would have said
her words were
about it.
gravely ill, and that she thought she was going to die.
I also know you guys are trained to lie, so
You can take it for what it is, okay?
just like you wouldn't answer me that question.
Which
That
one?
statement that
Trained
I
to lie?
Yeah.
We're not
We're not trying to lie. Do we lie? Yes, we do from time to time. Are we lying to you now? Absolutely not. I'm telling you that right now, her word is gravely ill. And you knew it too, I believe, which is why when you called 911, and you had already called your parents, which is also why there's no emotion, because you already knew she was going to die a couple of days ago, and had already come to grips with the fact that she was going to die.
Now, you sit across from this table and call yourself my brother and say things like that.
I think it's possible. You tell me. I can tell you for a fact, Seth, that she looked like this for at least a week, to the point where it's obvious she needs help. My guess is she's looked like this for at least 2 to 3 weeks. My guess is you were praying that she would get better with your faith, because you knew something was wrong. I'm not saying you didn't necessarily feed her. Maybe you thought she had a disease or something, like you mentioned earlier, but she looked like that for a while, and you knew she had a problem.
No. The reason why I might deal with it, no emotion, I was crying in the holding cell. What do you think we were doing for the hour before I called you guys? What do you think we were doing all last night? You don't know what I've been through to get me here. And I'm not coming out with a victim story, oh pity me, but it hasn't been the easiest walk for me. So I can deal with stuff. Not always the best way, not always in the greatest or most pure way, but
But Seth, all right, I get all that, but honestly, we're just here to try to understand it. This comes down to the bottom line. The ME did their thing, and he makes a ruling. I barely accomplished an associate's degree, so it's not like I'm going to sit across from a guy that can out-debate me all day long and try to go tit for tat, but I just want to try to understand this. how then are we here? How are we here? Let's throw accusations to the wind and let's be done with that. Just how are we here? That's what I just don't know.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
I don't know. I don't. You know, my very straight pastor answer is that you know, God gives and God takes away, and you know, I try to do the best according to my understanding. How did she get so skinny and thin? Like I said, I don't know, because I used to feed her. I wish we had this talk here in my house so I could go through the garbage can and show you guys.
We did. We went through your garbage can.
Okay, so then you must have found the empty baby food container.
Well, we saw like some of the formula. It looked like someone might have been trying to supplement some of the maybe, I don't know, there's formula or there's some kind of milk. I don't know what it is. It had formula labels on it.
So you know then that I would teach her. I mean,
there's no allegation that there was never any food given to her. There was feces in her digestive tracts. So that doesn't just happen by swallowing air. So, but there clearly wasn't enough. There wasn't enough to sustain her.
I guess, you know, and I guess you're right. Cause you've seen my other two kids. They're not skinny. I didn't even feed them that much. So I don't know where it was going or what she was doing with it.
See, but the biggest issue is this. The biggest issue is that you change her diapers every night and you see her the way she is. And at some point, the obvious injury thing that you just spoke of, the broken bone, she was the obvious injury. And your job as her protector and as her dad was to get her that help. Now, I'm going to sit across and just tell you straight up. That was your job. You didn't protect her. You didn't get her help. You would take her for treatment for a broken bone. But every bone in her body was showing, and we didn't get treatment. You knew, because you're changing her diaper. You can't not know. Her knees were wider than her thighs. You didn't protect her, and that's your job. She can't defend herself. She can't protect herself. You and Tatiana are tasked with that role, that God-given responsibility and role. And you didn't. And that can't be disputed. Because we're here. Because we have a result. We have an end result. That's what we're trying to figure out, is why.
To be honest, I think we're kind of past the result of why, and I think we're just trying to get a confession of something.
Yes, I'd love a confession of something.
Do you think you had any role in this?
Of course I do. I'm the dad.
Whether
there's criminal liability...
You don't think this is a criminal liability case? Come on.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Whether there's criminal liability found or not, I'm still responsible for anything that could have been done different, anything that could be changed.
What do you think could have been done different?
Well, of course, you know, the standard party line answer is, you know, to go see the doctor and see what's wrong as to why she's not gaining weight.
Let's go the natural answer. We don't let her sleep 15 to 18 hours and we feed her. No doctor necessary.
I've never encountered that to be a advice medical issue.
Oh, come on.
I haven't.
She obviously had a medical issue, though. Right?
my heart it breaks for you and her.
I mean, not really, otherwise you guys wouldn't be trying to destroy what's left.
You don't understand that
What should we be doing then?
What
If this was your neighbor, what should we be doing? What should we do differently?
Well, I don't think that to be honest, I don't think putting either one of us in jail is going to do anybody any good. It's not going to bring... There's no justice for her. There's no crime. There's no
crime in this?
Look, I know that the American court system will come up with a crime. There's no ill intent. There's no evil action. There's no intent to harm anybody. Breaking up the house that those two little kids are in now isn't gonna...
Do you think you should have known, though, that she needed help?
I tried to give her all the help I could give her.
But wouldn't you agree that anybody that sees that, including you, would know that the help you're trying to give her isn't working?
The thing is, that's why I tell you, that's why we were so relieved when, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, my mom said, hey, I can tell her cheeks are getting fuller.
But what's all the help you tried to give her? So far, when I heard that you fed her 3 things at night, what?
Yeah, we fed her, and we,
What other help? You tried to give her all the help you could give her. What's that include?
What else do you do? I mean, what?
Feed her more often?
We've had this kid a ton.
So, when you said we gave her all the help we could give her, that's just the thing.
I mean, how do we even know that she didn't have some sort of, regenerative disorder or something?
But if she did, it was still, you still should have noticed that. She's wasting away.
Part of the reason why it's hard for me is because this is a very new idea that just every time somebody dies, it has to be somebody has to go into a box or somebody's got to be convicted. I mean, it used to be common for kids not to make it. It's called natural selection, and it's a hard part of real life on Earth.
Do you think she was part of natural selection?
She's always been small. She's always... I don't know how else...
Do you feel bad about this?
What do you think?
I'm asking. I don't know. The way you're talking like it's natural selection makes me think you don't.
There's a difference between,
Almost sounds to me like you're saying, she was weak. Oh, well, I don't care about it.
I know that's how you take it, but I'm not really too worried about it when I get up in front of a judge or a jury, so... There's a difference between, how we want things to be the best way and what really is. So, and I've tried to accustom myself to dealing with what is, and I never consigned her to death in any way, shape, or form. I never... And it's sick that you guys would sit here and tell me that, I love my kids and then say those same kind of things. I understand it's part of the cop game, but, don't insult my intelligence, please.
No, he reacted to a comment you made. It was part of that conversation thing again. He responded to your comment of kind of it is what it is, it's natural selection, kids have died for a long time. It was a response to your statement. So it wasn't part of our plan to come in and say that you didn't care. You said that, and he responded to it.
Sure.
Okay.
I was kind of talking about earlier in the general flow of things, so I wasn't trying to nitpick about one issue.
Like Jason, I'm just trying to get it out of you that you do care. When you make a statement like that, it makes me wonder: do you care? I want to believe that you care. I know Tatiana cares. I want to believe that you do. But
I'm not much one to try to. So my apologies that I'm not much one to try to convince other people of things, except for faith in the gospel. I don't really. guys are elder professional men. What am I gonna say? You know, you guys have your facts/observations. So, you know, what am I gonna tell you? I love her. I fed her every day. You can see how my other kids behave with me. You can see how in good a shape they are. You've already been given tons of evidence that I care.
But Seth, here's what it is. You're right about that. Is that, would you agree with this simple statement? That you, 100% of you, is very different than 100% of us. That we live our lives very differently. That you think differently than us. Like you talked about the machine and that we're part of the machine. So we are on different ends of the spectrum somewhere.
I mean, you know, your check's paid by the government. It is what it is.
Right. So we think differently. So that's kind of what we're saying. Is that the weird thing that we're getting, my whole preface for that was because to me, it's just so common sense that you would say, yes, I should have gotten her medical care. Because I have the now facts. We can at least acknowledge that now, if you knew a week ago what you know now, that we can acknowledge we should have gotten her care.
I think I said that to you yesterday also.
Oh, and it could be. I've done so many interviews with y'all blending.
It's a hard thing for me. It's a hard thing for me. You know, when you actually get into biblical language, you know, what's called pharmakeia, pharmacy, aka doing that whole standard medical practice is the same Greek word for sorcery, witchcraft. So it's very, very hard for me to go that way in any way, shape, or form.
So you think you made the right decision that they're not getting medical care?
I would say that I should have sought medical advice even if I didn't follow through on it. Should have exhausted my options better. It's a conflicting thing for me because
sure. I can actually understand what you're saying because how should I word it? Your non-spiritual side says, well, of course I should get medical care. But then there's a party that wants to follow what you just spoke about, the pharmacia Greek stuff.
And you know, there's also there's a part of the scripture that talks about many being held in bondage through their fear of death. And I see that to be a generally very large function of the medical industry in this country. And the way they pitch things and keep people under their thumb is, you know, they keep people financially enslaved to them. You know, but I'm sure you guys have had medical costs recently. It's pretty much no less than slavery.
I agree with that.
So, and I don't know if you got my, you know, my basically story with medical fraud and, for lack of a better word, in my opinion, malpractice, violation of ethics, all those kinds of things in the past that I tried to have resolved, but nobody would give me the time of day. So for me, a lot of it really comes down to a point of, you know, am I going to go with what the world says to do, or am I going to go with what my faith says to do? And you know, I know you say, well, Seth, that led you to lose your kid. I'm sorry, but it's not like there's no other ways kids die in this country.
Oh, we're only talking about this one.
I know.
Let me ask you this, then, because I have the same boat as you. I have kids, and medical expenses are a lot, so I get where you're coming from. If, hypothetically, you had $1 million, would you then send your kids to the doctor?
It's not, would I be more apt to seek, you know, medical advice, attention? Yes, I would. If it was something that was more affordable, easier to access, yes, I would. Doesn't mean I would go through with, you know, all the vaccinations and all that stuff, but I certainly would be more
apt.
yes.
Because, like, in this case, let's say you brought her in to the doctor, it puts you in a financial bind, and then you kind of put your, I don't know, you put your family at risk then, because, I don't know if your house...
The last time I put you about 15 grand in a bind, right?
Yeah, my last, for some history as to why I have the decision-making that I do, coughed on her way out of the womb to, clear her lungs out of amniotic fluid, one cough, and they said, oh, well, she coughed. This is right after they almost dropped her on the way out, and ripped my wife in half giving birth to her. They said that we're going to have to keep her in observation, such great medical concern. And so we're going to have to keep her in observation for 72 hours, put the tether on her ankle, and to be honest, that's when I knew I was not living in a free country anymore. And said, if you try to take her and leave, they call the police, and you get a kidnapping charge. So, so that bill for 3 days in the hospital ended up to be like $15,000. So, who can do that? So, especially, we're a couple 23-year-old kids. And then, when we changed doctors, we had CPS called on us. It was just a mess. And then we finally got a doctor who was closer-ish to the house, and he said 1 millimeter out of round, and we needed to buy a head-shaping helmet for her. Second opinion says a bunch of crap, he prescribed a head-shaping helmet that was just, around like $3,500, $4,000, and I refused to buy it, and he called CPS on us. And he handed CPS a bunch of paperwork. He wrote one thing on the paperwork he gave CPS, and he wrote another thing on the paperwork he gave to us. It's a case worth investigating, in my opinion, right there, and I tried to complain about it, but so it's bureaucratic self-protection. So
kind of your experience kept you from seeking medical help at this point because it's expensive? In your experience, it sounds like it's been...
Well, also, medical malpractice is the #1 leading cause of death in this country. I see it as being just as dangerous to go to the doctor as not to. And I think the statistics back that up. So for me, it boils down to, the righteous shall live by faith, and many are kept in bondage through their fear of death. And
so you would do the same thing again?
Would I do this? I would not let that go again, no. No, I would not. And,
you'd find a way you'd find a way to be at ease both ways. You do some more reading, you'd find a way.
I would certainly, look greater into my options. However, I don't necessarily rule out, in my opinion, that there might be something else going on there. I don't know.
And there's other tests that being done.
Yeah, because it's just it turns my brain into mush that I could be told that she's starved to death.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense.
I got the word now, Seth. It was called malnourishment and dehydration.
That's why it's like, I'm still holding on to my brain that something else must be going on in there, because it's just, like I said, I'm not much for one to sit here and try to convince you anything. I'm going to say what I have to say, and, I'm not going to sit here and, beg or, I don't know what else to do. I'll beg if that's what I have to do, I will, but I don't see it being a edifying use of time and space, because it's just, it doesn't
So
do anything.
let's say this, I guess, if all of this gets resolved, whatever, and you go, and Jim starts looking like this, what do we do?
See, here's the problem, is that, and this is why, to me, the one thing I say is that I'm 100% positive that there's no way. Because look how old he is, how far along he is already and everything. So, I mean, if it was something like that, wherein he was clearly a certain way, and then something happened,
Okay.
and then I always just kind of talk to the
This
picture
picture,
skinny.
this picture, she's clearly healthy.
Yes, she is.
Clearly.
Yes, she is.
That one,
Her body's all
not.
I agree with you. I don't.
Yeah, her face looks like,
I know, that's
But she
why I don't
was
really
young.
want to look at the picture.
Horrible, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I totally agree with you. I'll say that just because her cheeks are chubby, her body's always been thin. That's why for me, she's always been a skinny little girl, but not like that.
but I do get what you're saying, you're talking about, if there's
He beat me over the head with this.
but I get what you're saying, there could have been a disease on
You
it.
think I want to be here right now?
No, I know you
Yeah.
don't. I know you don't. Do you think we want to be here right now? We don't.
I'm sure you don't.
We don't.
Seth, listen, the bottom line, this is up to a cross-criminal examiner, we're kind of in the middle of it. Honestly, believe us or not, we were just trying to gain an understanding, which I think we've done. I think we've gotten probably as close as we're going to get to the understanding is that we don't understand. So,
Is there anything I can help clear up, or?
the stuff that I don't even know if you know the answer to is why did we not get help weeks ago?
Okay.
That's just kind of where we're at. It's like, what was the problem? Like, and you have cleared up some of that you had a faith that God would pull her through it, and you have a strong disbelief in the medical system due to the malpractice and all the death they caused. But I guess that's as close as we'll probably get to understanding it. Unless there's something I'm missing.
No. Do you think you've done anything wrong?
Well, like I said, there are certainly some things that I would do differently in hindsight. Nothing is keeping me up at night. Whether you believe it or not, when I do something wrong, I'm convicted of it, and it won't. The spirit within me will not let it go until I redress it.
Is this something, and we're about done, okay? But is this something you would ask Jesus for forgiveness for?
No. Because I'm like I said, I'm still holding out that there's something else going on in her. Because I know what I did, and whether you believe me or not, it doesn't matter. I know who knows what I did.
And I agree with that. And we're not here. We're not the doctors. We are kind of the middle guy. You're arguing kind of with doctors through us.
Right.
That's really what this is about.
And you guys are arguing for doctors with me.
Yeah, three. So that's really what it is.
We're just trying to
We're just some
understand.
mouthpiece. And we're trying to, yeah. So.
And I totally get that, and I'm just trying to, my explanations aren't always necessarily so short, and I also understand, no offense, I do understand pointed questions.
You're about to have another baby, right?
I hope so.
Are you gonna do this one different as far as raising it and how?
The thing is that all I'm being put on trial here. I know I'm on a trial, but the only thing I'm being on trial here for is the one that went wrong.
Yeah.
You look at my other two kids, someone put me on trial for them.
Right. I get that.
That's all I'm saying, so.
Well, because you're telling me before the fact, is there anything that we haven't asked you that we should have, anything that you think that we're just missing and that you should?
No, because I clearly understand the disconnect in the methodology of thought between a secular and a biblical spiritual perspective. So I clearly understand that there are going to be some things that don't make sense.
Sure.
That's part of
well, I just want to make sure that we didn't.
With this life.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we didn't. That there's not something that you thought should be known. If there's not something that you want said in a police report, that you want said, quote, Seth says this. If there's anything, again, we are mouthpieces between you and evidence.
Right.
That's what we are. So I can assure you, if there's something that you quoted and wanted to put in a police report, we'll put it in there. So that's kind of the reason I ask. Nothing that comes to mind.
No.
Okay. Good. Seth, truly, I am sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We don't need to understand it. We don't need to understand each other, but we both understand pain. And I know that you're feeling pain. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your face, and I can see it in your body language. You don't need to cry in front of me to prove to me that you're in pain. I understand that. I'm a little goofy on emotions too. I'm not big on all that. But I'm going to tell you right now, I know you're in pain. There's people here. There's counselors here. You may not believe in it. We have the God pod here. I don't know if you've heard of that or not. And plug into something. Don't shoulder this on your own. There's a whole pod here, which I strongly suggest you at least look into. That is men. That is Christian men. They may have a little bit different beliefs, but fundamentally may be the same. Plug in somewhere. Don't shoulder it alone. That's all I can think is, at the end of the day,
well, no offense, but so far I've been put in solitary and not been given a phone call. So.
Well, they have their place, I don't know how the jail works. I've never worked over here, but so no offense taken. But and I don't know how they have to. There's a classification type thing, and they figure things out. I don't know what any of that is, but when they ask you these questions, ask them. Hey, I'm interested in the God pot. That's what they call it here, the God pot. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's a place you ought to look into. It is all men, not the same, but like-minded, that at least have a faith, and they have varying differences of that faith. But, yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. And nothing else I can do, nothing else you can do, nothing words we can say that make you feel better, except
Anything else we can do for you?
Yeah, I'd really like to be able to call my lawyer.
yeah, absolutely.
You'll be able to.
Like sometime
Yeah.
before the weekend's over.
Yeah, you'll be able to call him I would think the next hour or two for sure.
Okay.
I don't know how, again, have you done your fingerprints on it, Jazz, yet?
I think so. I don't know. To be
Put your
honest.
hand on scanners and gotten pictures of it?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
Have you gone and talked to what they call a classification guy, clerk, whatever they call them? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They'll get you there though.
All right, Seth. Hey, listen. If you think of anything that you want added to this document, you can just let the deputies in the jail know, and I'll come back over. I'm just across the street from you, and we can add anything you want to the document. Again, it'd be if you ever want a written statement, so you can put your own words in a document. I'll give you a statement form. You can fill out in your own words, where you can assure that I'm not taking liberty with anything that you say.
I'll say, guys, I'm a little surprised at felony murder. I thought maybe, reckless endangerment, child endangerment, something like that.
Well, Seth, that's the arrest. That's the arrest, and a prosecutor needs to make the say on it.
Okay.
We do not have...
I was going to say, you guys haven't even had time to, go
No.
to court or anything.
No, that's right, because it's kind of a weird system that we don't have the authority to charge. We put a charge. We put a charge on the sheet, but you're charged by a prosecutor. And I think the prosecutor is meeting with the assigned detective on this at 8:30 Sunday morning. That's when we're going to actually know what the charge is.
Okay.
So don't put too much weight in anything that the jamokes are doing here, because as you're well aware with your mom in the law field, we know this type of stuff, and then the lawyers go do their lawyer thing. That's not for us to say, so.
Got it.
Yeah, that's what it is, okay?
I felt slightly insulted with the felony murder thing.
You wanna know how we come up with felony murder?
I'm sure it's just like an administrative
Yeah, basically what it is.
definition.
It's a death of a child that came from a child abuse/neglect. That's kind of how it comes, but it's not a,
Yeah, I get
big
it.
conspiracy.
I get it. I was just like, what?
It looks horrible.
Whew.
I get that. I do get that. But so you know, the whole recipe was a simple 2-ingredient recipe. I mean, we didn't put a lot of stuff into that.
Got it.
And the prosecutor Sunday will look at it, dismisses it, adds charges, reduces charges. We have no idea. That's not our job. Our job is just to present it to the prosecutor and say, here's what we have. What do you think? And then you'll be arraigned on the actual formal charges of what it is.
Is that supposed to be on Monday?
Probably will be Monday. Yeah. Okay?
So am I gonna get like a pillow and a blanket tonight, or am I sleeping in there?
No, they'll move you
I think
most likely.
yeah.
Can't guarantee that, probably, because you're here early enough.
I think you'll be moved tonight. Again, this is very separate from what we do, so we don't know all the inner workings, but I believe, especially honestly with your charge, they'll anticipate more than a night stay for you. So I think they will get you placed, is my anticipation. And we'll move from there.
Okay.
All right? Man, sorry.
Actually, I think, Seth, you want to stay in here, they'll come get you. Okay.
Yeah, we'll let them know.